Alien girl cried for food. Her older sister chose to sell herself to human Sci-Fi, HFY Story. The lower market of Iron Glass Station was always loud. Old machines hummed without rest. Cargo rails screamed as they slowed down. Voices from many species mixed together, sharp and tired. The lights above flickered, never fully bright, never fully dark. This place was not meant for comfort. It was meant for movement, trade, and forgetting. Near a line of food stalls made from scrap metal, a small alien girl stood shaking. Her skin was pale blue, stretched tight over thin bones. Her large eyes searched every passing face, but no one stopped. Her hands were empty. Her stomach burned with pain she did not understand, only that it would not stop. She tried to speak, but her voice came out as a weak sound. It was not the common trade language. It was only a cry, a simple sound of hunger. Some traders glanced at her and turned away. Others pulled their goods closer. A few muttered warnings about stray aliens and disease permits. The girl took one step forward and fell to her knees. At the edge of the stall line, a human man froze when he heard her. His name was Eli. He worked cargo runs between stations. His clothes were plain, his boots worn down by years of metal floors. He had learned early not to stare, not to ask questions. On Iron Glass Station, curiosity was expensive, but the sound the girl made was not a trick. It was not a lie. Eli knew hunger. He had lived it on dead roots where supplies ran thin and no one cared. He stepped closer. The girl tried to crawl away, fear flashing in her eyes. She had learned to run from humans. Most of them carried authority or worse, attention. "It's okay," Eli said softly, even though he knew she might not understand. He lowered himself slowly, keeping his hands open. "I won't hurt you." The girl's body trembled. Her breathing was shallow. Dark marks ran along her arms, signs of cheap ration powder poisoning. Eli had seen those marks before, on dock workers who tried to survive on fake food. Behind a stack of broken containers, another figure watched. The older sister had been watching the market since the cycle began. She had not slept. Her eyes burned with fear and anger. She knew this place. She knew what humans could do. She had sent the child out anyway, because there was nothing left. Their credits were gone. Their shelter had been sealed 2 cycles ago for missing a species tax they did not understand. The younger one could no longer stand without crying. The older sister clenched her fists. When Eli reached into his bag, she panicked. "Stop," she hissed, stepping out. Her voice was rough but clear. Her posture was sharp, protective, like a blade pulled halfway from its case. The market noise dipped for just a moment. People sensed trouble. Eli froze. "I was just trying to help," he said. The older sister moved between him and the child. She was taller, stronger, but exhaustion pulled her shoulders down. "Humans don't help for free." "That's not true," Eli said. She laughed once, bitter. "Then you are new." The girl whimpered behind her. Eli slowly pulled out a sealed protein bar, real food. He placed it on the ground and stepped back. "No tricks," he said. "Take it." The sister stared at the bar like it might explode. She scanned the crowd. No enforcers, no scanners. Finally, she grabbed it and tore it open, breaking it in half. She pushed the larger piece into the child's hands. The girl ate like she was afraid it would vanish. Eli watched her color shift slightly as her body reacted to real nutrients. Relief washed through him, followed quickly by anger. Someone had let this happen. "Where are your permits?" he asked carefully. The sister stiffened. "We don't have them." "Why?" She hesitated, then spoke fast. "Because the office moved, because the fee changed, because we were told to wait. Then our shelter was sealed." That sounded right. Iron Glass Station changed rules daily. Before Eli could speak again, heavy boots struck the floor nearby. Enforcers, black armor, white lights, no faces. The sister grabbed the child. Panic flashed through her eyes. "Go," Eli whispered. "Back tunnels, left side." She hesitated only a second, then ran. Eli stood and turned just as an enforcer stopped in front of him. "Permit check," the voice said. Eli showed his cargo badge. It was valid. Barely. The enforcer scanned him, then looked toward the tunnels. "Did you see two unregistered aliens?" Eli shrugged. "This market's full of ghosts." The enforcer paused, then moved on. Eli exhaled slowly. From the shadows of the tunnels, the sister watched him one last time before disappearing. She did not trust him. But she would remember him. Hours later, in a cold maintenance crawlspace, the younger sister slept for the first time in days. The older sister sat awake, holding the empty wrapper of the food. She knew one bar would not save them. She knew tomorrow would be worse. And she knew that somewhere on the station, humans with clean hands and full bellies were deciding who was allowed to live. Above them, unseen, station systems updated silently. A new order was issued. Unregistered aliens in the lower rings were marked for removal. The countdown had already begun. The tunnels beneath Iron Glass Station smelled of oil and cold metal. Water dripped from cracked pipes, echoing through the narrow paths. The older sister moved quietly, her steps careful as she carried the sleeping child in her arms. Every sound felt too loud. Every shadow felt alive. She stopped only when her legs began to shake. They reached a forgotten service room where broken screens lay stacked against the wall. The door barely closed, but it was enough to hide them. She lowered the child onto a folded thermal sheet and watched her breathe, slow, weak, but alive. The older sister pressed her forehead against the wall. She had promised their mother she would protect her. Their mother had been strong once, a worker in the upper farms of their home colony. Then the sickness came. It twisted her lungs and drained her strength. Medicine existed, but it was not meant for their kind. It was meant for those who paid early and paid often. Iron Glass Station was supposed to be a place of work. It became a trap. The child stirred and opened her eyes. "Food," she whispered. The older sister's chest tightened. "Soon," she lied gently. She stepped away and checked their last credit chip. The screen blinked once, then went dark, empty. She closed her hand around it. There was only one path left. The next cycle she left the child hidden and moved upward into the brighter levels. Every step felt wrong. The walls were cleaner. The air smelled filtered. People here did not look at the floor when they walked. She reached a corridor lined with hollow ads. Human faces smiled softly, offering opportunity work contracts. One symbol repeated again and again, a circle crossed by a clean white line. Inside one office, a human woman waited behind a glass desk. Her hair was perfect, her voice calm. "You are seeking special labor," the woman said. The older sister nodded. "Temporary." The woman scanned her with a thin beam of light. "You understand the terms?" "Yes." "You will receive food credits and medical vouchers." "Yes." "Your body will be registered for exclusive use during the contract period." The older sister swallowed. "How long?" The woman smiled. "As long as needed." The contract pad slid forward. The older sister's hands shook as she pressed her mark. The system chimed. Elsewhere, Eli could not forget the child's face. He returned to his ship, but sleep would not come. He replayed the market again and again. The marks on the girl's arms, the fear in the sister's eyes. At the docks, he asked quiet questions. Dock engineers, med runners, old cleaners who knew everything. One name kept returning. Circle Line Services, a legal front. Illegal depth. Eli accessed a public terminal and searched deeper. Missing aliens, closed shelters. Contracts that never ended. His jaw tightened. He wasn't a hero, he knew that. But he also knew what happened when everyone decided to stay quiet. Back in the tunnels, the child woke alone. She cried. Her voice echoed farther than it should have. Security sensors picked it up. A patrol unit shifted course. The older sister returned hours later, her body aching, her mind numb. She carried food packs and medicine, real ones. Relief flooded her until she saw the patrol lights flicker down the tunnel. She ran. She reached the service room just as boots struck metal outside. She pushed the child into a vent and sealed it. "Stay quiet," she whispered. The door burst open. Hands grabbed her. She did not scream. Above, Eli received a data ping he should not have seen. A new contract activation. Location locked, time stamped. He stared at the screen and started running. The corridor alarms did not scream. They whispered. Red lights pulsed slowly along the walls as Eli ran through the service levels. His boots hit the metal floor hard, breath burning in his chest. He should not have been able to see the data ping. It was locked behind corporate filters. Someone had made a mistake, or someone wanted him to see it. A contract activation. Fresh. Tagged to Circle Line Services. The location code matched the lower rings. Too close. Eli ducked into a side passage and pulled up the data again. The contract holder was listed as a non-human female. No name. No species tag. Just a body number. That was how they erased people. He slammed the panel shut and kept moving. Below, in the maintenance tunnels, the older sister was dragged through narrow halls. Her arms were pinned behind her back. The lights above her flickered as guards moved her forward without speaking. Their armor was smooth and clean. Their hands were firm, practiced. She focused on breathing. If she fought, they would mark her as unstable. If she screamed, they would sedate her, so she stayed silent. Her thoughts were only of the child hidden in the vent, small, alone, afraid. She prayed someone would find her before the patrols did. The guards brought her into a transport lift. The doors closed softly. The lift moved upward. Each level felt like another door closing forever. Eli reached the tunnel junction too late. He saw the sealed service room. The broken screen stacked against the wall. The vent cover slightly bent. His heart dropped. He knelt and pulled the vent open. The child stared back at him with wide eyes. She did not scream. She remembered him. "Hey," Eli whispered. "It's okay. You're safe now." She shook her head. "Sister," Eli swallowed. "I'm going to find her." He lifted the child gently and wrapped her in his jacket. She was light. Too light. Her body trembled against his chest. He knew he could not take her to his ship. Not yet. Instead, he contacted one person he trusted. Her name was Mara. She had once been a medical officer before she quit and vanished into the lower rings. She patched up people no one else wanted to see. Her clinic was hidden behind a broken recycler bay. Mara opened the door and froze when she saw the child. "Where did you get her?" "No time," Eli said. "She's starving, poisoned by ration dust." Mara stepped aside. "Bring her in." As Mara worked, Eli paced. "Someone took her sister," he said. Mara's face hardened. "Circle line." "Yes," Mara exhaled slowly. "Then they won't stop. Those contracts don't end. They move bodies until they break." Eli clenched his fists. "I'm not letting that happen." "You're one man," Mara said, "against a station that sells silence. Then I'll be loud." Above them, the older sister was processed. Her clothes were removed. Her body scanned. Marks recorded. She stood under white lights as machines decided her value. No one asked her name. A handler stepped forward. A human man with tired eyes and a voice like a contract clause. "You will comply," he said. "You will be rewarded." She said nothing. Her mind replayed the child's face again and again. If she survived this, it would be worth it. If the child lived. Back in the clinic, the child slept under warm lights. Color slowly returned to her skin. Her breathing steadied. Mara looked at Eli. "She'll live if we keep feeding her, if we hide her." "Good," Eli said, "because I'm not hiding." He accessed his cargo network, old captains, retired pilots, dock engineers with nothing left to lose. He sent one message. "Circle line is active. Aliens are being sold. Proof incoming." Some messages were ignored. Some were blocked. One reply came back. "I'm listening." Eli moved fast. He broke into a public broadcast node and queued the contract data. Faces blurred. Numbers clear. Dates. Disappearances. The system tried to shut him out. He pushed harder. Security locked onto his signal. In a holding chamber above, the older sister felt the floor shift. The station vibrated. Something was happening. Screens flickered to life around her. Data scrolled, contracts, bodies. Her body number appeared. Then a voice filled the chamber. "This is Eli," he said. "If you can hear this, you are not alone." Her breath caught. Down below, the child stirred and whispered a name only she knew. Across Iron Glass Station, people stopped and watched, and the silence finally began to crack. Iron Glass Station began to change. At first it was small. Doors that should have stayed locked opened. Screens that usually showed ads went dark, then filled with data. People stopped walking. Voices lowered. Fear moved faster than any alarm. Security teams rushed through the upper levels. Orders came fast and unclear. Shut it down. Find the source. Protect the contracts. Eli stayed connected as long as he could. Sweat ran down his face as warnings stacked across the terminal. Every second brought a little more truth. "This station runs on hidden bodies," his voice said across the feed. "Look at the numbers. Look at how many never leave." The signal cracked, then it cut. Within moments, armored units flooded the sector. Eli ran. He knew the paths now, old cargo chutes, half-forgotten ladders. He felt the station like a living thing under his feet. A blast door slammed shut behind him. He did not slow. Below, in the medical hideout, Mara shut down the lights. The child slept, unaware of the chaos spreading above. The sound of boots echoed far away. Mara checked the child's readings and whispered, "You're stronger than they think." She prepared an escape route. Above them, the older sister was no longer alone. Other aliens sat in the holding chamber, different shapes, different colors, same empty eyes, all marked. All waiting, a guard entered and spoke flatly. Transfers delayed, remain seated. The older sister felt hope and fear collide inside her chest. Delay meant trouble. Trouble meant attention. Attention meant risk. She watched the cameras flicker again. A new message flashed briefly before it was erased. Evacuation zones opening. Unauthorized. The station shook. Somewhere deep inside Iron Glass, a power relay exploded. Smoke poured into lower corridors. People screamed. The station had not planned for panic. Eli reached an observation bridge and stopped. Below him, hundreds of workers and travelers were running. Some helped each other. Some pushed. Some froze. He saw humans pulling aliens up from fallen ramps. He also saw humans stepping over them. He knew what choice he had made. Security units surrounded the bridge. "Lie down," a voice ordered. Eli raised his hands. "I already told them," he said calmly. "You can't hide it now." A stun blast hit his side. He fell. The feed came back online uncontrolled. Someone else had picked it up, a dock engineer. An old pilot, a cleaner with a private channel. The truth spread faster than security could follow. In the holding chamber, locks clicked open. Red lights turned green. The older sister stood slowly. No guard stopped her. No order came. She moved toward the exit with others, hearts pounding, steps unsure. Down in the tunnels, Mara carried the child through smoke and heat. The station groaned around them. Metal screamed as systems failed. "Almost there," Mara whispered. They reached a cargo lift just as it began to rise. The child opened her eyes. "Sister." "Yes," Mara said. "She's alive." The lift shuddered. On the observation bridge, Eli lay still as med drones arrived. He heard voices arguing above him, orders changing, blame shifting. Iron Glass Station was losing control, and when control breaks, truth escapes with it. Iron Glass Station did not fall apart all at once. It unraveled. Systems shut down in the wrong order. Doors opened that should have stayed closed. Messages crossed each other, some telling people to evacuate, others telling them to remain still. The station had been built to control movement, not to survive honesty. In the rising cargo lift, the child held onto Mara's sleeve. The walls shook as smoke slipped in through thin seams. Emergency lights painted everything red. "Is she really alive?" the child asked. Yes, Mara said without hesitation. She is. The lift reached a mid-level bay and stopped with a hard jolt. The doors opened to chaos. Crates lay broken. People argued and shouted. Some cried. Some helped strangers without asking who they were. Mara stepped out carefully, keeping the child close. Across the station, the older sister moved through an unfamiliar corridor. The holding chamber had emptied into confusion. No guard stopped her. No one checked her marks. For the first time since she arrived, no system told her where to stand. She felt lightheaded. Freedom felt unreal. She followed signs toward evacuation zones, her feet sore, her body aching. Every sound made her flinch. She expected hands to grab her again. They never came. On the observation bridge, Eli woke to white light and a dull pain in his side. A medical drone hovered nearby, sealing a burn mark. His arms were restrained but loosely, not like a prisoner, not like before. A human officer stood a short distance away, her expression tight. "You caused a station-wide failure," she said. Eli blinked. "No," he replied slowly. "I showed one." She did not argue. "Corporate control has been suspended," she said. "External audits are coming. Until then, iron glass is under emergency rule." Eli laughed weakly. "That's a nice way to say you got caught." She looked at him for a long moment, then turned away. "You're lucky," she said. "Some people are angry enough to make you disappear." "Let them see me," Eli answered. "I'm done hiding." The restraints released. In the evacuation bay, Mara finally stopped. She scanned the crowd, heart racing. Aliens and humans pressed together, all stripped of status by fear. The child suddenly stiffened. She looked up. "Sister," she whispered. Mara turned. The older sister stood frozen a few steps away. Her eyes widened. Her breath caught. For a second she did not believe what she was seeing. Then the child ran. They collided and fell to the floor, holding each other tightly. The older sister sobbed, her body shaking as weeks of fear broke free. "I'm here," she repeated again and again. "I'm here." People around them slowed. Some looked away to give privacy. Others watched quietly. Mara stepped back, wiping her eyes. Moments later, Eli entered the bay, limping slightly. He scanned the crowd until he saw them. The sisters, alive. The older sister noticed him and stood slowly, placing herself between him and the child out of habit. Eli raised his hands gently. "It's okay," he said. "You're safe now." She studied his face. The fear she expected to feel did not come. Instead, she bowed her head. "Thank you," she said. Eli shook his head. "I just did what I should have done sooner." Evacuation transports began to arrive, not corporate ships, independent ones, old cargo vessels, medical haulers. People had answered the message. Iron Glass Station was no longer quiet. News spread fast. Across trade lanes and colonies, the story was repeated, not as a rumor but as proof. Records were released, faces shown, numbers counted. Contracts that had hidden in legal language were burned by daylight. Circle Line services vanished within cycles. Some of its leaders were arrested. Some ran. Some were never seen again. The sisters were relocated to a neutral medical habitat. Their mother received treatment at no cost. Not because it was charity, but because enough humans demanded it be done. Eli did not return to corporate roots. His cargo license was revoked. His name flagged. He did not mind. He flew escort instead, guiding ships filled with those who had nowhere else to go. Others joined him, not heroes, just people who had seen enough. One cycle later, the child stood at a viewport, watching stars stretch into lines as the ship jumped. "Do humans always help?" she asked. The older sister smiled sadly. "No." "Then why did he?" She thought for a moment. "Because some humans decide who they want to be." Far behind them, Iron Glass Station orbited in silence, changed forever. And across the stars, aliens remembered one truth. Humanity could be cruel, but when it chose to be kind, it was unstoppable.